Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Scrapbooking Photographer. Linda's my name, and today we're going to look at the paper suite that's been featured in March for Close to My Heart. So March is the last month of the seasonal catalogue, which has seen us do some travelling with the Are We There Yet? And we used that paper pack in some earlier videos. We've also looked at the storybook suite of paper, and for that month we particularly paid attention to the digital art collection with the Cricut machine, which was a new discovery for me and a lot of fun. So this month we're looking at Life's a Hoot, which is a fabulous range of colours. I've also looked at the digital art collection. I'm not using that today, but what I am using is this card making stamp. So I'll just put that to one side, and this is the stamp set we'll be using, and these papers are gorgeous. The sticker sheet has some beautiful gold embellishments on it, so we're going to enhance that a little bit with some heat embossing today. And the papers, of course, come with the two-sided of pattern, giving us 6 options. And on the back, we've got a list on the zip strip of the cardstock that would coordinate with it. So for these, we've got black, flamingo, glacier, grape, honey butter, lagoon, nectarine, periwinkle, sapphire, white daisy, and wisteria. So a lot of options will blend with this paper suite. So just quickly looking at these, we've got the splotches, the stripes, and this gorgeous purple or mauve, and then this one that looks a little like bricks, mottled bricks, and some chevrons, and then these big circles with the gold on them. So let's put this all to one side and see what we can come up with. When I first saw this range of papers, this is the photo that came to mind. So this is my puppy Gracie, who isn't a puppy anymore. She's nearly 3. But when she was younger, we did a bit of a photo shoot in the backyard with her and my older dog, Pippa. And so, but these colours just really sung out to me about Life's a Hoot. And then when I thought about it, Life's a Hoot with these two anyway. And one of the photos that we took on that day has this look on them. So I think that's absolutely perfect for the sayings on the stickers as well. So what I'm going to do is start with some white daisy and get our background ready to put this paper on. So first up, as always, we're going to take off the zip strip. You just need to bring it right down so that you just see the edge of it before trimming. Put that to one side to use perhaps on some cards. I'm going to use white daisy as a base, and this one I'm going to cut that way. So to do that, we're going to turn it over and just mark it on the reverse side so that we know where to cut, because going diagonally won't fit in the trimmer. So we've got to kind of line it up and with a pencil mark where we need to cut. So just coming in this way. Right, so that's where I need to cut, and I'm just going to do it with a pair of scissors. Okay, so this is going to go, I'm going to have one side here and one side there. So in here, we're going to have some photos obviously going here, but behind the photos, we're just going to use the card making stamp and bring in some more of these circle shapes, and also I want to highlight the goldness here. So we're going to copy some of these using the stamp and emboss them in the background. With one piece at a time, I'm just going to, obviously we know where halfway is, but just to keep our eye on it, I'm just going to move this down a little bit and draw a very faint line along the paper to get, so I don't waste anything coming over this side. It all needs to be that side, so don't need it on that side, we need it on that side. And the reverse on the other piece, which needs to come down, and bring it down like that way, so I don't have to worry about getting rid of the pencil line later. It'll be covered by the designer paper when we put it back. So now we've got our two pieces of white daisy that we need to stamp here, or emboss here and here. Now it's always good to stamp on sponge, which is on the reverse of the Versamat, and because I'm going to be using embossing powder, I'm going to put it underneath this big sheet of paper, which I'm going to tear off so that I can easily scoop up the leftover embossing powder and pop it back in the pot. So we'll do this piece first. And this stamp, I haven't used the stamp before, so it will need to be seasoned. Always exciting getting the stamp out for the first time. And to season it, I just go across with my forearm, squeezing it, which gets rid of the coating that is on the stamps when they come to you as new ones. Okay, now you'll see when we look at the paper that there are circles. There's this splotchy one is here. We've got the sun one here, and we've got the star one sort of here, down here. So it's going to look quite good if we just scatter those around. So let's get on with that bit. So this is the side where the paper's going to be. This is the side we want to emboss. So we're going to use all of the different shapes, or a lot of the different shapes on here. But before you emboss, it's always a good idea to use the pouch and just to rub over where you're going to go. It's called an anti-static pouch, and what it does is stop the embossing powder from flying and sticking onto parts of the cardstock where you don't want it. So that's just a quick thing that needs to be done as part of preparation. Easy to forget, but once it's ready, we can start. Now this is quite a bendy circle, so if we put it down on the paper first, then we can pick it up without disturbing its shape, and then using the Versamark glue ink, we're just going to stamp randomly around this page. Now they don't all have to be in the edge, they don't all have to be visible. We can hide little bits underneath where the paper's going to go and go off the edge of the paper. Doesn't matter if they overlap, but we won't do too many because with it being invisible, if you like, as glue, it's hard to know where we've been until we've put the embossing powder on it. So without further ado, we'll sprinkle this over here, and it's like revealing where you stamp because you often don't remember. And we're going to pick up the excess on the piece of paper underneath, so don't worry about being liberal or wasting. You're not wasting it, you're just making sure there's enough on there to stick to the right parts, and then shaking it around. We'll see, oops, see there's one coming up. We'll see where it is. And you can tap it off. Now you can see here it's stuck in a couple of little parts that perhaps I didn't do properly with the anti-static brush, or accidentally dropped a little bit of the glue. So having a brush handy is always good, and you can just brush those bits off. Okay, now I'm not going to worry about that because it's going to be under the other piece of paper anyway, so that's fine. Okay, so that's our base circle. So we'll just collect up the surplus powder and pop it back in this, little pottle. And then we can do the next one. So remembering to use the chamois to wipe this off, get the glue off it before you put it back onto the holder, and then bring in the next one. So a different shaped circle, slightly smaller, with the little rays coming off it is next. And now we can see where we want to add extra little bits. Okay, that's enough of that one. Here we go. I think that's got everything covered. And I do tend to count in my head how many after the first round. So I know I did 5 of these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there they are, all there. And then we can do the same process of picking up the excess. That's because there's glue. That line there is because some of the glue got onto the edge of the block. So we'll just encourage that to go somewhere else. That looks better. When you're finished, throw out that piece of paper because it will have crumbs of powder on it and you don't want to get it everywhere. So even though I had it on the paper, I always wipe down my table with a wet wipe or a baby wipe or something, and you'll be amazed how much dust of the embossing powder comes up off the table. So always worthwhile doing, even if you can't see any spillage or anything that went astray. And then dry it off with a paper towel and you're good to go. Got this one here, I'll just use the warmer blower. You can see that changing from the powder to the embossing. So I won't do all of that on camera. I'll go and finish that off and come back when both pages are finished. So we've got our embossing all finished, and then we bring in the 2 pieces of designer paper that we trimmed before into 2 huge triangles, and we'll just put those on like that, and that's the background for our images. So just a note about trimming this photo. Taking photos of animals or people, it's really good not to crop off at a joint. So with this photo I've applied the same principles to trimming the photo and left most of her leg there rather than coming up here and chopping off at the shoulder, come down past the ankle into here and here too, so that there's enough space around for us to enjoy what the picture is offering. And I'm just going to put that there somehow and invent a journaling box or something to go down there. And on this side, this picture goes really well, but I've had it printed as a 5x7, which I think looks even better. So I'm going to get some backing behind that, and the colours that we read out before that go with this set that are on the zip strip, I narrowed it down to the Flamingo, Wisteria and Glacier. So it's a matter of choosing what I want to go, and looking at it, I think the Flamingo is a bit strong with the purple in the sheet in the backdrop, but I think that might go quite well. So I'm going to mount this up into these colours. Now the other reason those colours work well is because they're also the colours used in this heading, which I'm going to use up on this piece of paper over here. So that will blend in well there. So here's my photo of Gracie that I've just trying it out on the Glacier and the Wisteria, and I think it needs a little more in there, and also I just want to singularly mount these three. And what I'm going to do is use some white daisy and give it a gold edge. So I'll just measure very slightly, so 1/4 of an inch all the way around, which gives it 1/8 of an inch on each side of that one. So as you can see, that gives just a very narrow margin around the outside, and it doesn't look too bad with the white. But what I'm going to do is use the gold paint markers, bringing in the scrap paper and my ruler. This is actually paint, so it dries as paint and looks nice and golden, and will match in with our embossing powder. Very handy tool to have for Christmas, so if you haven't got one, you've got till Christmas to get them. They come in a set of 3, and you've got a thick tip, which is this one, and then a finer tip and a one in between. You leave gaps, you just fill them in, paint them in, just like if you're painting a windowsill really. But it is probably better to start from the outside and move in so that you don't slip it all over your ruler. Or if you've got an older ruler, use that. And again, doing it on top of scrap paper just gives you that ability to go off the edge and not do any damage anywhere. You can see the effect. So that's, I'll just tidy up those little bits that have smudged. Okay, so I'll leave that to dry, and I'll going to do the same on these ones. Now now that everything's dry, I can bring them back and mount the pictures onto these golden edged pieces of white daisy. And I can also start adhering down the big triangles and placing the photos where I think they're going to go. Looking back at the sticker sheet, I think the Life's a Hoot tag will go best in the middle there. So I'll come back to that after I've stuck down everything on the right hand side of the page. And I've also gone away and heat embossed the words Gracie 4 months for her title. I did check her age, and these photos were taken in October 2020, so she would have been 4 months old. So going back to our sticker sheet, there's some nice purple trim up the top, which I'm going to peel off and use to anchor the pages. So I'm going to put one on the left side and the right side. So that's the right side down, and then using the right one to line up with the left, get them evenly placed there. Then I can adhere the images to the page. And it seems I've transposed 2 of the images, but I can fix that later. Bringing in the Life's a Hoot, it doesn't quite fit clearly, so what I'm going to do is just trim the edge off so it's nice and square against the edge of the picture. And then it's time for some embellishments. There are some lovely clusters of flowers and things on the sticker sheet, and I am a self-confessed numpty at clustering stickers, but I did put a few extra gold leaves behind that cluster of flowers, and I've put a few stickers up the top, as well as a couple of circles and a flower that just covers the edge of that cut piece of Life's a Hoot. So I'll also bring the owl in down the side to just signify where there's going to be a little bit of journaling. And I'll do the journaling on journaling strips. So I've cut some journaling strips to size so that they fit in there. And I'm just going to use 3 because really all we need to say is that it's October 2020 and a photo shoot on the back deck with myself and Christopher. So the girls really say it all with their face expressions. The journaling's done now, and I'm just finishing off with a couple of extra little stickers to complete the page. Thank you for watching today. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and tick the notifications so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Here's some close-ups for you to enjoy. Thanks for watching.